Hello, everybody. Welcome to Syncro Release Day, the first of this new year in January 2025. I wanted to personally be here for this. I think it's a critical turning point for the company in many ways. And I wanted to also welcome you both to the Syncro community, but also a new era in the business. So again, welcome. We're going to have today Dee Zepf. She is our Chief Product Officer, and Dee has been on this journey since the beginning of last year. Andy Cormier, who you probably all know quite well, he's been a long tenured part of the organization, its growth and its success, and he has recently been promoted appropriately to our Channel Chief. Kristen Costagliola is our Chief Technology Officer, driving all of our engineering efforts. And again, thank you very much for being here and welcome. Let me jump right ahead and talk a little bit about my background and an introduction to sort of the new company. I shared this with you when I first joined, which was a year ago. I joined the firm at the beginning of 2024. And my background, very briefly, is one deeply entrenched in the managed services space. I, in 2011, was the founder of Continuum. And for those of you who remember the company, Continuum had a unique attribute to it. We had a knock, SOC, and help desk operation that were overseas. By overseas, I mean specifically we were in India in 2 locations there, and we also had operations in the Philippines for our help desk. And what we did was what's called labor arbitrage. We brought a low-cost labor and had a services integrated delivery model that was built into our product. And our focus was really simple. It was to create a high degree of profitability for our partners and give them an opportunity to scale. It was a labor arbitrage model. Again, outsourcing lower cost labor into this market. Well, lo and behold, we grew extraordinarily fast. I was there for 8 years. We were a category leader, and then Thoma Bravo combined us with ConnectWise. And when I say combined, it was treated as though ConnectWise acquired us. And so I stepped out as being CEO at that time. And this is at the end of 2019. I was no longer a part of the ConnectWise journey. And frankly, I thought the market lost something really special in their ability to grow. We have many examples of extraordinarily successful companies that were a part of our portfolio. And so I rejoined the industry through Syncro because I wanted to bring very much those same principles to bear for you today. And it is really around creating an environment for growth and profitability in your industry. It's a new era for the company overall, and it's a new era in many, many dimensions. As you've seen, we've had a new branding. We came out with a new branding that has new logo, new look, new feel, but it's really just the beginning of what you're going to see from us as a company. It's a turning point. It took us a full year to really get here, but you're going to see some really dramatic changes in the business. And I should make a note, I think it's very important to know that it's a new era for the company because frankly, it's a new era for the industry. There are new technologies that are at our disposal, and there is a market dynamic today where many people are discontent with the larger providers in the market. And I know I don't need to name them to you all. You're all quite familiar with them. These are firms that got sort of too big, too distant, made acquisitions, were not able to integrate their products very well. And so a majority, perhaps even of you today, came to us from one of those companies because of the things that we're doing around simplifying the experience, but creating a powerful platform at the same time. It's not simplicity at the sake of power. It's both simplicity and power. Our focus and our commitment to you is in and around bringing a level of automation and tech utilization, increasing the tech utilization to a whole new era, to a whole new level. And we've made tremendous investments in the different areas of our business. By example, I mentioned I joined the company a year ago. 50% of the employees today at Syncro were not in this company prior to my joining. So we have really transformed sort of the fabric of the organization, and 70% of my executive team are new to the company. So it's a very, very, very different company today than it was even just a year ago. But we particularly making investments in the area of product and engineering, because that is an area that we felt, we had, not necessarily fallen behind, but we had paid more attention to infrastructure than some of the features and the functions that were pertinent to you. And so, we have more than doubled the size of both our product and our engineering teams today. And it brought a number of things to bear for you throughout that experience. If you recall, in 2024, we added things like AI ticket classification and real-time ticket automation, which provides more intelligent routing and easy automation. These are pretty strong advancements for the industry as a whole. And again, just an example of the many things that we're going to be bringing to you, again, in and around automation for you. The second area is we built out a world-class partner and customer success organization. And that is new to the organization. It is staffed really in two ways. With people at a certain level, you're going to want somebody to help you along your journey. But what we're really focusing on doing is creating a self-service or at least self-guided experience so that you can have access to all of the resources and all of the things that we're bringing to bear for the market. And we really are indexing in heavily on that. We want it to be a place that you can come and have libraries, a university, a whole variety of things in product guidance, in product support, and everything else. But in the case where we haven't provided enough in that automated experience, you can raise your hand, we'll step in, and we'll provide somebody to help support you and guide you. So those are just a few things to look forward to in the year ahead. I mentioned our brand. I'll just touch on that one last time, before turning this over to the team, on product and engineering. Dee and Kristen are going to walk you through a whole lot more about what is to happen for you this year. But I just want to note our brand is bold, as you can see, not just what's behind me and others, but we've had a lot of comments on Reddit and Facebook and other places. Most people have applauded us. They're like, wow, like you talk about transformation, that's transformative. You talk about being bold and you talk about really a next generation thing, and that's extraordinary. And some people, quite frankly, were not so complimentary about it. But you need to be prepared, and we were fully prepared, and we continue to be, because to take feedback and criticism or anything else, it is the most demanding customers that will make us great as a provider to you. And so, some people thought it was a little out there, or a little too much maybe in some areas. But you need to know we are here to be disruptive, to be bold, to be transformational on your behalf, for you, to enable you to differentiate, to make much better economics. I talked about labor arbitrage. We're doing it in the form of automation. People talk about lowering the cost of their tool by 50 cents or $1. That's lovely. But what really matters is your labor cost and how your technicians spend and use their time. And we are focused maniacally on that. So thank you again for a great year behind us. We look forward to a great year ahead and on to a new era and a new chapter, not only for Syncro and for its partners, most importantly, but in the industry as a whole. Dee, take it away.
Great. Thank you, Michael. It's actually going over to me. This is, hi, everyone, Kristen Costagliola, Syncro CTO. And I have the huge pleasure of being able to run through very, very quickly all of the things that we delivered in 2024. I want to make sure we have enough time as we look forward into 2025, but we would be remiss at the opportunity to share all of the things. So I've broken this down into a number of categories. We'll go pretty quick. Please feel free to ask questions using the Q&A module. We have some product people here. Myself will answer some stuff in the background, and as we get to the end, to leave time there. So first up, we did a ton of work last year on ticket management. You'll continue to see this going forward. Releasing ticket view metrics. We focused originally on parent-child tickets, more options within ticketing for filters and grouping. We rolled out ticket collaboration, so at mentions, being able to mention your another technician and have that technician receive notifications. And then we improved the notifications around ticket subscribers, so people that need to subscribe to the ticket, so you don't just need one person assigned. You'll continue to see improvements in ticketing going forward, but quick, those were some things we did in the past. We also did a number of work Michael mentioned around ticket automations. So we rolled out new real-time ticket automation triggers on if a ticket was updated or different AI features that were added into the platform. We added the classification and AI sentiment automation triggers so that you can celebrate technicians that are doing really well and having very positive results, and maybe escalate if there's something else that needs to be taken care of, or go specific to your specific boards and your teams on specific areas of the product that you might need. We also rolled out contact tags so that if you need to, take care of your CEOs a little bit differently than other pieces, you can do that specifically all through your ticket automations. We also spent a ton of time within our time tracking over the course of 2024. We wanted to rehaul a lot of this area and bring you a ton of improvements, which I think all culminated in the tech utilization report that we just released here in January, which we'll talk about. But we did detailed time entry within the ticket comments to make it easier for your technicians to add time. We allowed you to pause ticket timers. We rolled out minimum ticket charges, so the ability to have, no matter what, your charges have a minimum amount that they would have to be charged within the ticket. And then we allowed non-billable time tracking as well to make sure that your technicians can get credit for all of the time that they're actually spending, but without you actually having to send that on to your customers. We also rolled out a brand new mobile app and have been updating this over the course of the year with our last release at the end of the year around adding assets. The goal was to add better support for all of you and all of your technicians who are in the field. So you can do an interface with things around tickets, chats, alerts. You can manage some of your assets, your scripts, remote access. You can look at appointments. The goal really here to make sure that your technicians who are on the go are able to service everything that they need to do on site and be able to interact with all of their clients. We're continuing to develop on the mobile app, and I'm excited people love the speed of the new mobile app, and our goal was also stability and making sure that it works in the way that it should. We also did some work around email improvements over the course of the year with rolling out verified email domains and multiple outbound emails. We have 1,200 people that have verified email domains, and if you've seen some of the issues in the past with some spam or other pieces, we would highly recommend you sign up with verified email domains or SMTP. Please feel free to reach out, use the Doc Center. We'd love to help you kind of further your communication with your customers to make sure that you can better support them. We also did some integrations with Microsoft. We released a managed Windows Defender to be able to look at that directly from your policies and take care of all of the things running scans. We also did some improvements to our Entra ID sync and bringing in assets. We did As we all know, Microsoft does changes a number of times. So we updated some of our Outlook calendar and our Microsoft Teams notifications based on some uh, based on some feedback from Microsoft on areas that they were deprecating. So we wanted to make sure that those things continued to work for you, and we kind of added some improvements along the way there. Michael mentioned AI and automation, and we did do a number of things here with our ticket classification and ticket resolution work so that you can go in, have your ticket automatically classified, and with steps to take if you want to have your technicians be able to resolve those tickets automatically, or just again, being able to use ticket automations to send those to the right team or the right team member, subject matter expert that you might have working. We also rolled out ticket sentiment to be able to see how your customers are feeling based on the ticket and within their responses, and smart ticket search so that you could actually search in a little bit of an easier way without having to know exact keywords to be able to access all of your older tickets and give you some specific information when you're within a ticket to say, hey, what's some of the last 5 tickets that this customer worked on, or what are some of the pieces that might be related. We also did a number of things around improved security. We did a lot on on Windows patch improvements. Earlier in the year, I think our patching was one area that we had a lot of work to improve. And as of now, we have 98.8% of our patches that are successfully categorized and are applying properly within all of your policies. We also rolled out single sign-on so that you can use your own OpenID Connect provider, identity provider for your technicians to log into Syncro. That allows you to have better security within your system, and you can just continue to leverage that here within Syncro. We then rolled out some extra security features within the Syncro platform, including compromised password detection, hardware security keys, to allow you to be able to recognize if someone's password has been reused, for example, or to be able to use a YubiKey as your MFA method. As someone who MFAs for things all the time, it's really nice just to be able to tap something rather than having to enter in a number of different keys for an OTP. We also rolled out multiple customer permissions so that you can have any of your technicians that you only want to have access specific customers so that they can actually do their job, but you can limit their access there. And we rolled out a better improvement with Bitdefender MDR so that you can take advantage of Bitdefender's higher levels of service. And then we also rolled out a number of things of our in-product support. We released a new documentation center that has a better search. It has the ability for you to give feedback and respond to all the things to tell us if we've missed something or if something is wrong. We have a new resource center within the product, and for the ability for you to chat with our support team directly from within the product rather than having to go somewhere else. We've also rolled out, we just at the end of the year rolled out a new ticket portal. So you now don't have to worry about if any of you had gotten in the stuck that you had to remember a different username and password. You don't have to do that anymore. All of your tickets are all in the exact same page, and you can access them and actually quickly respond and have your conversation with support. And then finally, in the background, we've heard from a lot of our customers around how fast Syncro has been, but that is an area of focus for me to make sure that we continue to deliver the speed and the stability and reliability that all of you need for your application, for your business management, to be able to run your company. And so we're continuing to do a number of upgrades and things in the background to move things forward and keep everything as stable and potentially even increase speeds over time to give you everything that you need. And with that, again, I ran through that really fast. We have a lot of stuff to cover. So very exciting of all of the things that we did in 2024. I see tons of comments. I know there's lots of improvements of things we continue to do. So let's talk about 2025.
All right, excellent. Thanks, Kristen. It was a little bit of a lightning round. I am trying to keep up on chat and Q&A as we go through this. I will say to folks, if you have a question that you want us to address, because at the end, all 4 of us Michael, Andy, Kristen, and myself will be here to answer your questions live. So use that Q&A module if you have things you want us to address. And feel free to chat away in the chat module as well with each other. That's totally great. But if there's anything you'd like us to address, if you could use that Q&A, it will help us to wrangle it at the end and make sure we don't miss your questions. I'm going to talk a little bit about 2025, the themes. I'm going to hand it over to Andy, who's also going to talk about some of the things that we've already released in 25, as well as some of our plans in and around partnerships and integrations. And so before I do that, I will say I'm watching some of the chat come through in and around some of the branding updates we made. And I just want to start by talking a little bit about my philosophy on how I think those things will roll into product. And so, I know that branding and color choices are, very personal. People love it or hate it. Our branding is bold. And so people love it or hate it. That is kind of the purpose of doing those things. Inside of the product, I do not plan to lean heavily into orange and heavily branded colors. I just want you to know, I understand our product, it's not meant to make a statement every single time you open it. It is for you to get your work done. And so we're going to be leaning into some of the more neutral colors. You're going to see more dark black, dark gray, white. We're going to have really great support for dark mode and light mode. Our new design system is not heavily branded colors. So you'll see a much more neutral palette kind of rolling into the product as we head into 2025 and we update our screens. I just kind of wanted to let folks know that that's the current plan with respect to branding and colors in the product. So with that, let's talk about our focus for 2025 and the functionality that we're planning to add. So we have three main themes that I'm looking at in terms of what we're rolling into product this year. One is streamlining the user interface. So if we look at that, we now have, from a user experience perspective, we have our design team in place, and our design system is in place, and you're going to see us rolling out and redesigning major areas of the product this year. We're going to be modernizing the interface and then really focusing on top tasks and ensuring that the things that you want to do are one click away or just a couple of clicks away. So the first thing you'll see roll out is the ticket page redesign. We have, I think, about 125 people that are currently in early access for the ticket page redesign. And thank you. If any of you are on this call, I know you submitted in to Rob and the team some feedback on some things that you don't like about early access, which is perfect. We have a short hit list of items that we're fixing before we roll this out to other folks. And so that we're gonna have kind of our first, major redesign screen rolling in. You'll see us take this same type of design. We're working on the patching dashboard. We're going to be working across a bunch of different areas with updates and patching as we go throughout the year. We're looking at contacts and really redesigning the way you interact with users in the system, making it so that you can, select, multi-select, perform easy actions on them. We're doing the same thing with assets, making sure you can connect your users to your assets and move back and forth seamlessly. So you'll see a lot of different updates, both in look and feel, but even more importantly, in how you're able to navigate across the product to get what you're trying to get done quickly and efficiently. We're also going to continue to add to things around the edges. We're going to continue to have Doc Center articles that are up to date with every single release that we're keeping there. We're going to be adding best practice short form videos right in product and articles as well, so that you can kind of take advantage of the power features inside of products. Second major theme for 2025 is really around productivity and automation. In 2024, we did a lot around automated ticket management, as Kristen talked about. You'll see even more improvements in this area because we know that working inside of tickets and working in tickets is something where people spend a lot of time, whether that's from a mobile perspective or in the app perspective. You'll see us lean in there more. We're also planning to enhance our APIs this year and add a more seamless and efficient management experience for Microsoft 365. We've heard loud and clear from all of you in the survey we did last summer, and we'll likely do another broad survey again this year because I think we've ticked off a number of things that came up as top items. But our API, as well as managing Microsoft, came up as top items there, and so we'll work on automating things and leaning in there as well. The final theme I want to talk about for 2025 is focus on fundamentals. And this one I actually felt like deserved a slide all of its own. because it's something that I've heard resonate loud and clear from all of your comments. And so what do I mean by focus on fundamentals? So the definition of focus on fundamentals, according to my one search, and I loved the definition that came back, so I ran with it, means to prioritize the basic essential principles or building blocks of a subject or activity rather than getting distracted by complex or trendy details. I just want to make sure you know that we hear you, I hear you loud and clear on this one. Whether it's major new capabilities or just ensuring that we're connecting the dots on existing functionality, we're going to make sure the things that you're trying to get done every day operate smoothly. I have a team of folks that are really focused in on trying to tick off some of the smaller interactions, looking at feedback that's coming in, looking at examining people's tasks. And so we'll be doing that as well as rolling out big features. It's a huge focus for us. We know there have been some gaps and we've started to address them, and you'll see more and more velocity come to that in 2025. All right, with that, let's talk about a few specific projects that are in progress and up next on the public roadmap. I commit to continuing with the public roadmap. As you all know, if you've been following along, I try to make sure the public roadmap has things that are either about to be picked up by a team, so maybe we're in discovery or we're designing them, or someone's actually writing code and actively working on them. I try not to publish things that are too far out because I do want to make sure that, if I commit to something on the public roadmap, we're delivering it. And so I never want to put something out there and have to call it back. And so, I think folks will be asking questions here on things that go beyond what's currently on our public roadmap. I'm happy to answer questions about things we're targeting later in the year, but the things on that public roadmap are things that we're targeting in the early part of the year, right? These are things that we are actively working. And so I just want to kind of make clear my philosophy on publishing the roadmap. So to hop in progress. So we have the ticket page redesign. I already spoke about that. That is pretty close to getting ready to go. The way we'll release this, so it's basically a brand new ticket view page listing all your tickets, allowing you to easily navigate back and forth between views, allowing you to edit in line. We're making a few enhancements to that page to make sure that it's performant and that it saves state appropriately, taking in some feedback from early access. We'll be releasing that. We're going to release it as a toggle in the app. So we are going to allow you to opt into it and then opt out of it if you run into any issues. We know it's a core part of your workday. We think we've hit all the cases, but when you have thousands of people using something, it is inevitable that you find something that you missed. And so we want to make sure we put a little bit of a safety gate in place for y'all there. And so that will be coming out soon. We're also updating and refreshing the end user portal design. And so you'll see a refreshed UX on that, really making it clear how folks navigate, how you bring top tasks to the front. Windows patching dashboard, so you get a nice view across your whole fleet, so you can understand, a dashboard for centralized, reporting on management across all patching and Windows devices. Network discovery, coming soon. So this is really that ability to scan the network, easily discover devices, and then have them added to Syncro for you. Just so saving you a lot of time and making it so that devices can't just linger out there in secret where you don't see them. And then for the mobile app, next up is adding @mentions. And then I know Bobby and team are also working on, I think there's a comment limit on the number of characters in a comment. And I think that's also kind of coming soon, hopefully on the mobile app roadmap as well. All right. And then, so those things are all in progress. People are currently writing code on those, getting those. And then up next, and so if we look at up next, we're going to be adding a unified view for technicians. So it's really, really easy for you to see in one place all the tickets that are assigned to you, unassigned, and subscribed. So you can have kind of one simple view where every ticket you might want to look at or pick up are right there for you. We're also enhancing the ticket timer, a small change. We got some feedback on ticket timer, and so we're going to give folks visibility into the total actual time as well as total billable time right there in the timer, and just clean up some of the things around the ticket timer to just make it a lot clearer and easier to read. We're also unifying our ticket metrics, making sure that we're calculating them the same way in different places in the product, clearly describing that and making it so that you really know what you're looking at when you're looking at those ticket metrics. the contacts page. And so looking at how we treat end users in the product and making it so that you can have a nice tabular list of those users. So you can select one or more of those users. You can take action against those users. You can quickly get to the assets that are associated with those users. And so we're kind of doing a whole rework on contacts as well. And then archiving assets. This is one I had intended to get to earlier, but other things kept jumping in the middle of the road. And so just making it super simple. I know people have worked around this in a million different ways. We're just going to make it super simple for you to archive away your assets so that they don't get in your way of your reports and your current day-to-day, but you can always go back to them and have a record of everything you've done. So those are the two things that are currently kind of up next and in progress on roadmap. And then, as I mentioned, we are still doing a bunch of work around the edges of all this to make sure we have, just data, training, kind of everything you need, and to reach out to us and have direct access to me and my team, our support team. And so that resource center has today links to the doc center, links to chat directly with support in there. It has links to our support portal, which we have now brought in under the single sign-on umbrella, so you no longer need to go hunting around for a separate password to hop into support. We've tried to just make it dead simple to get in touch with folks. I've recently added, we have our release updates, so you can easily see every single month what are the big things we've released, as well as the smaller fixes and updates that we've included kind of in our monthly roundup. And then I've added a product feedback link. And so if you have feedback, if you have ideas, this is not support, this comes into me and my team. So if you have things you want us to look at, feel free to submit feedback. It comes in, I have it hooked up, so it shows up over my morning coffee. It comes into our shared channels, and we look at that. I'll be going through. I also ask if you're willing to have a follow-up conversation with us. Both myself and my team love to get on calls with folks. We love to talk through with you what you're working on, what you're trying to get done. And so we're planning and hoping to do more of that. And so if you have ideas for us, or you have things you're trying to get done and we're making it difficult for you to get them done, reach out to us and we're going to try to work with you and incorporate those things directly into our roadmap. So pretty excited to have that right in product. So once again, you don't have to kind of go out to a separate site and put feedback in, which in a place that feels far away, just kind of bringing that right into product for you. All right. And with that, I think I'm going to hand it over to Andy to talk a little bit about what released already so far in 25, and then a little bit more on plans around partnerships.
Yeah, so just want to talk a little bit about what we released this month. Actually, I think we released it last week. First on the list happens to be one of the most pivotal data points we've ever added here at Syncro, and that's technician utilization reporting. There's really three key reporting criteria folks use when running an efficient and profitable team. The first are technician and customer efficiency reports, and we've had some pretty stellar reporting around these areas for a while now. These basically say I want to see how a specific technician compares to my company baseline as a whole. Then it breaks that down further by each ticket type that you have. This allows you to almost instantly find inefficiencies or areas of opportunity for the technician side of your house. And this, of course, spills over to your customers in largely the same fashion. Beyond that, MSPs will often ask, I know my tech clocked in 40 hours last week. I want to know exactly what they were spending those 40 hours on. Am I getting my investment out of what I'm spending for my techs week over week and month over month? That's technician utilization reporting. So we've just released exactly that. And we'll also break down how much of your technician's time was billable versus non-billable. And both of these unlock the most critical aspect of running an MSP, and that's profitability reporting. We've had a lot of folks asking for a long time about profitability reporting within Syncro specifically, and there were a large number of prerequisites to getting there, such as being able to add and flag time as billable and non-billable, which is something we added late last year. The last piece of the puzzle was technician utilization. So with that last hurdle out of the way, you're absolutely going to be able to see profitability reports in 2025. So that's definitely coming. Beyond that, we made a small but important update to our customer portal. We're seeing thousands and thousands of your customers logging into your customer portal each month to pay their invoices. Previously, if you enabled payments in the portal, you had to display both credit cards and ACH options if you globally offered both of those. And this allowed times where customers could pay in what we'll say an inopportune way. For instance, if I had a $10,000 managed services contract each month to a customer, I probably don't want them paying with a credit card. So now as part of our portal permissions update, you decide what payment options your customers can see. So if you want to force them to only be able to pay with ACH in the portal, you're now free to do that on a customer by customer basis. And lastly, we added a new integration partner, Integrately. For folks not aware with that vendor, they're very similar to Zapier in terms of functionality, but they offer some different pricing models for those that find Zapier's to be a bit too cost prohibitive. So that one's actually available today in our App Center. And then next, I want to talk about partnerships and what we're going to be doing around partnerships in 2025. I said it in our last roadmap webinar in December, and I'm going to say it again now. 2025 is going to be a huge, huge year for new partnerships here at Syncro. Now, we're going to be breaking those up into two categories. The first is what I call integrations. Those are things like IT Glue and Zapier, or more recently, something like Integrately. Then there's marketplace partnerships, which are products that Syncro resells, often at a discount to other distributors. These would be things like Acronis, Proofpoint, and Bitdefender. Now, we've heard from partners for some time now that they'd like to see more opportunity to generate revenue from our marketplace, more choices available for specific categories within our marketplace, as well as seeing Syncro expand the functionality available with products that we already resell today. So in terms of new marketplace partnerships, those are absolutely coming. In regard to expanding the functionality around new and existing marketplace partnerships, I'd like to introduce everybody to the notion of what we're calling universal billing, concept that will become a reality in 2025. Now, every MSP on this call knows how sucky it is to try and bill out accurately every single month for your third-party add-ons. It's just a nightmare. This leads to human error, missed billing, and at best, it's a ton of wasted time for your billing admins. This often causes folks to adopt subpar billing models or even switch to alternative third-party add-ons entirely just to circumvent the cumbersome process of pulling a report from your third-party vendor, manually recording that into your recurring invoices every month, and doing the same thing next month pretty much forever. But what if you didn't have to? What if we did all of that heavy lifting for you? Now, because this really hasn't been done before, I just want to show a couple of quick screens here to demonstrate what this is going to mean for everyone. Keep in mind, these are just quick mocks, so the final product is going to look different than what I'm going to show here. I just wanted to give everybody a feel of how this is going to work and how this is going to look. So it all starts with this billing add-ons tab. And what you're effectively seeing here is every partner that you've added in our marketplace that supports this model. And I'm using Acronis and Proofpoint as an example of what this would look like. So we're going to grab these counts every single day. We're going to show you what the usage is for every single customer, along with some other pieces of information like your last successful pull date and things like that. These will also be linked to a customer mapper, which is going to define, which counts are going to which customer. And then the next step is exposing these counts to our recurring invoice module. So can you hit the next slide, Dee? So we're going to add a new counter to our third-party for third-party vendors, which is going to allow us to add any third-party vendor, any product from a third-party vendor that supports this model. This is going to count these licenses dynamically when your recurring invoice is fired, just like we do today for your customers' employees or your customers' assets. And this is how a lot of folks are generating their managed services contracts and generating that bill every month. So as an example, if this customer has 500 gigabytes of storage usage for Acronis when this recurring invoice fires, that's what they're going to be billed for this month. If that grows to 600 next month, it's automatically going to bill them for 600 next month. You literally will set this and then forget about it. It's going to do all the work for you. Now, the rest of what you see here is very similar to what exists today, with the exception of this bill for all units checkbox. Again, the entire philosophy here around what we're doing is to allow you to bill how you want to bill in the most profitable way possible with no compromises. Hit the next slide, Dee. So in this example, if you turn that checkbox off, I've included 10 Acronis workstation licenses as part of my managed services contract. So if the first one is 10 units of this SKU, then it wouldn't be counted until the 11th, and that would count as 1, and the 12th would count as 2, so on and so forth. When the count is less than 10 and nothing would be billed, you can optionally include a $0 line item so you can show that value back to your customers if you wanted to. They're like, hey, this is part of the services we're offering you. You're just not paying for it because we've included it as part of your managed services contract. And we're also going to have a report that's going to showcase all your current usage across all products there at the top, and then broken down by customer and product below that. And that's it. That's what universal billing is going to look like. And that's how easy it's going to be for you to set this up with Syncro's marketplace vendors. We're going to launch this in conjunction with a new marketplace vendor later this year. And then we'll be working on adding all of our existing marketplace vendors into this model until we've brought them all under the umbrella of universal billing. From that point forward, every single new vendor we add to our marketplace will support this model. And at that point, gone are the days of doing this shit manually. I promise you, Syncro is about to become all of your billing admin's best friend. So definitely let them know what's coming down the road here. So I hope everybody's as excited as I am about this, because it's really going to be a game changer for a lot of folks. So that's everything that we had for you all today. We're going to be answering as many of your questions here as we have time for. And as a reminder, please ask your questions using the Q&A. We won't be pulling them out of the general chat. And also, if you have a question specific for one of the four of us on this call, just please be sure to call that out so we can direct it to the right person. So I'm going to grab the first one here from Anonymous. I feel like we get asked this one every webinar, Dee. How do we know you aren't going to be acquired by someone like Kaseya? And I hope I don't have to explain why I am asking that question. No, you definitely don't have to explain. Michael, I think since you're normally not on these, I think everybody would like to hear what you have to say on the subject.
Yeah, no, look, I'm happy to do that. And candidly, the fear of so many companies in the MSP space today is just that, getting acquired by Kaseya. Even ConnectWise or Enable, these are places that, great technology and innovation often go to die. And it really, frankly, it's been a sad, negative dynamic in the whole marketplace, and not one that I have particularly, gotten much pleasure out of, frankly, either. I think it's been a bad thing for the market. Let me address Kaseya in particular, and then more generally, any of those players. First of all, if you look at the funding of the companies that Kaseya has most recently acquired, and I'll go to the most recent one, which is MSP Alerts, you will see that the funder of MSP Alerts is a company called Insight Capital Partners. Insight Capital Partners owns Kaseya. They are the principal founder and funding entity of Kaseya now for more than 10 years. And what they've done is they have invested in a whole number of companies to kind of incubate them and see how well they do in the MSP market space. And of course, Kaseya has a first right of purchase on them. And again, it's a bit of a breeding ground and a feeder system. And then when it looks like a good enough opportunity, Kaseya goes and acquires them. It's a pretty preconceived, path, and one that Insight and others candidly have used as well. And I'll get back to that in just a second. We are not funded by Insight. If you look at companies like Corview, they are funded by Insight. If you look at, and they're in the category. If you look at Simian Cloud, they are funded by Insight. So you can bet that those are either going to, if they're not particularly good or successful companies or don't look like they make much of a market, nobody's going to buy them. But if they look like they're kind of doing pretty well, then you can count on it that Kaseya is going to be the likely buyer of those companies. Again, we are funded by a completely different, we're funded by a private equity firm called Mainsail. So that's just a fundamental. Number two, with the departure of Fred Vokola, who was the CEO there, they have their hands so full of so many things. I'm not really sure what they're going to be buying in the near future anyway. So it's not going to be us under any set of circumstances. And candidly, I think their buying days are a little over for now, perhaps with some exceptions. Maybe there are some unique things out there, but they're, number three is we're a PSA and RMM. Kaseya already has 2 or 3 or 4 of those already. So there's nothing unique about us that would be of interest to them. So you can take it out of your mind. We are not going to get, acquired by Kaseya. And frankly, as I said, I'm not sure what, if anything, they're going to be buying anytime soon. But if you look at things like CoreView, Simian Cloud, those might be the things that would be next on their list. But I think it'll be a little while before we see any of that. In general, I just got here. I talked about my journey at Continuum. It was 8 years. It took us 8 years to build a really great, incredibly successful company and a category leader. I just started. I mentioned, 70% of the executive team, people like Dee ran products for us at Continuum, and others have joined me in this journey and are joining our journey in general. And we're here to go build something really special, really unique, something of huge value to the MSP marketplace. That's our priority, and that's really what we care about. And I think the idea that we're going to get acquired anytime soon by anybody is something that don't waste any of your energy, thinking about, candidly. The other thing is, and I'll just share a general philosophy around the private equity world, which is there are 2 cycles in private equity. We were owned, at Continuum, we were owned for 5.5 years by a private equity company we were in a value creation mode. They invested in us in a way that allowed us to do highly innovative, unique things. We made ourselves some great acquisitions. We bought a backup product, and then we launched a security offering that also included an acquisition and a whole bunch of other things. We are in the early stages here with Mainsail. We're in the value creation mode. Companies like Kaseya, as I mentioned, Insight's owned them for 10 years, and for a few years there, they were actually pretty good. But then when they got on the value extraction side of the equation, that's when it becomes really difficult for the partners and their community. A really important point. This is confidential. I ask you to keep this within the community of our partner community. We are also funded without any debt. And if you look at things like ConnectWise, I mean, it's public information. They have over $1 billion worth of debt on that company. And we all know that the skyrocketing cost of debt has chewed up all of their profitability just to service the debt. We have 0 corporate purchase debt. So we have, anything that we do, we get to reinvest in the business, in the people, in the community, and into our partners, and making great products. So we're just in a completely different place, in a completely different cycle. Before I turn the mic back over to Andy for the next question, I do want to answer, because a number of questions came up after I talked about the Continuum model, which included an outsourced component with both India and with the Philippines. We do not plan to do any of that here. We're not outsourcing our support. We're not outsourcing our services or any of those things. That was the Continuum model. My only point was, what we did do was we enabled our partners to grow and be very, very profitable, because we reduced the labor cost for them. We are going to be reducing your labor costs here through automation, through technologies. The level of commercial AI and automation did not exist in 2011 when we started Continuum, but they do today. And all the things that we're going to be doing to enhance your business is really going to be done through technology. We will not do any outsourcing, of any of these support, any of the touch points or anything. This is a completely different model than the one that we executed at Continuum in that regard.
Do you want to grab the next one on there about WorldPay from Austin? Right at the top.
Yep. Sorry. I'm frantically scrolling through all your questions going, I'll take that one. Yeah. So from Austin, are we going to be developing relationships with payment processors other than WorldPay, and adding the ability to do ACH so that we can have, more options inside of Syncro? So the answer is yes, we are doing that. It's one of the things, as I mentioned earlier, when I talked about our public roadmap being, kind of like near term, like things we're working on right now, this will likely be more toward the middle part of the year, you'll probably see it hop onto the roadmap in the next couple of months, and then we'll plan to do that. It is absolutely on our horizon for this year to add more payment options for you, especially in and around ACH.
Manuel's asking, would love to see LogMeIn or Screen Connect as alternatives for Splashtop. Manuel, I don't know if you're aware, but we actually do have integrations today with Screen Connect and TeamViewer on top of Splashtop that we provide to everybody natively. So LogMeIn isn't currently on the list of platforms that we're looking at. We could look at it, but let me know. I mean, if you're really married to them, let me know. Otherwise, we probably should have something you can support. And you can, it's policy based, so you could set it up for certain endpoints to support certain things if you want to mix it up as well.
Great. I can grab one here coming in from Tony asking, will a Linux agent ever come? And so once again, it's not an early part of this year thing, but looking at both enhancing our Mac agent as well as the potential for adding a Linux agent is something that I would really like to get done this year. I can't make you a guarantee since I don't have a tech plan for exactly how I get from here to there, but it's very much on my horizon, and we will at least begin working on it this year. Like I said, I don't have a delivery date for you since we haven't done, a full walkthrough of exactly what it is, but it's definitely on the horizon.
I'll take the next one, which was from Sean asking about our support chat and does it operate 24/7? If not, could you advise operating hours? Yes, our support chat is 24/7. There are humans on the other side of that. We have fewer people around on the weekends, but we do operate 24/7. So anytime if you do need a person that you need to contact at Syncro if something's going wrong, you can use the support chat in the product. You can also reach out to us by phone or any other way you might be able to create a ticket. But yes, you can come 24/7. There will be a person there. We'll try to help you with some searching the doc center and giving you some quick responses first if you want to try those. And then if you need to get through to a human, you can.
Next question from Marcel. Will Syncro be adding support for third parties like guards? And I'm going to encompass this into a couple other questions. There's some questions about threat down, some questions about password and credential managers like Bitwarden. Yes, I have plans to do a lot of new things, I'll say. One of the toughest things when it comes to marketplace is that there's two-sided agreements involved. We can't just say, oh, we're going to build this and we own the tech and we can do whatever we want there. So it is a little bit tricky. Sometimes it's as easy as sitting down with somebody and we're good to go in a week. Other times this is like a months-long process and there's a lot involved. But yes, I think it goes back to the statement I made before that not only do I want to bring a lot more net new types of categories into Syncro's marketplace, but we definitely want to expand on the categories that exist today. So definitely expect to see more along those lines. I just can't say specifically if that's going to be guards or Bitwarden or some other product. As soon as I do, I promise you, I will let everybody know. I'll be shouting that from the rooftops.
I can take one. I might paraphrase this one a little bit. It came in from Peter, basically saying, when Michael and Dee joined Syncro, we had high hopes there would be culture change, and we haven't seen it. It doesn't feel like we're addressing bugs and enhancements and listening to customers, and references things like payment processing and other things. I will say, nothing is ever as quick as you want it to be. But I do feel that over the past year, if we could look at the things that Kristen went through, I think we had over 40 feature epics that we released. We've structured it so that every single team is picking up bug fixes as part of their cycle. As we went through 2024, we got more and more velocity on that. As we head into 2025, we're actually dedicating at least one team full-time to looking at these kind of ideas of fundamentals and gap closers so that we're have time and space to not only just work on bigger features, but to also work on some of the smaller things that come in as requests that, are kind of the quality of life improvements in the product. And so I do feel like we came into this year, coming off of really a huge infrastructure upgrade and a bunch of things that were behind the scenes work. And so we've started to really build some velocity and a cadence in 2024. And I hope you'll see more of that in 25. And then by adding kind of that product feedback right inside the product, having it come directly to product and not kind of flow through community, and not having support. Like support is also going to be taking in those requests and handing them right to us and no longer kind of having you go to community. We're trying to make a much more direct line between all of you and the things you want and the teams that are actually building. And so I think you'll see more and more improvements, and hopefully you'll start to really feel that velocity. I've heard mixed, from some folks, they're like, oh my gosh, I've seen so much change and so much improvement, and you did these 20 things I want. And from some other folks, I've heard like, oh, you didn't do the things I wanted. And I hear you, I'm never going to be able to do all the things, but hopefully you'll see as we head into 25 more change and velocity in the areas that you care about.
I'm going to grab two related questions about Bitdefender. Andrew's asking when Bitdefender is going to come to the EU, and then Aaron's asking about not seeing certain elements of Bitdefender in Syncro like EDR. So again, one of the things that I'm definitely looking to do this year is not just add net new partnerships, but expand existing partnerships. So one of the things with Bitdefender that we're absolutely looking at is adding an instance in the EU. Today, everybody's working off a US instance. Obviously, EU folks want that for obvious reasons. And then, yeah, another thing is even though we do support EDR, MDR, ATS, XDR, everything through Bitdefender that they sell, you can purchase through Syncro, but we only allow you to deploy the core Gravity Zone license through Syncro today. Everything else, you'd have to go in Gravity Zone and enable it manually there. So those are the types of improvements that we'd be looking at to expand existing partners like Bitdefender. So I would say, expect to see one or both of those things sometime this year. And for folks asking about other integrations, I know Sentinel-1 comes up from time to time. I think I'll make the same comment. I would love to partner with every single vendor on earth. It's just what resources do we have? What resources do they have, and timing? So, like I said, stay tuned as we have more. We'll be announcing more for sure.
There's a question around AI automation with helping with ticket summary and updating it automatically. This is something that for sure is on our radar, is something we're thinking about. Again, and something you'll probably see come onto the roadmap at some point, but it is high on our list. And then I've seen a bunch of things around feature requests or how do I put things in. I think Dee talked about this a lot, but doesn't hurt to mention it again. It's now within the product that you can actually submit those features. I know in the past, it's kind of said, hey, we'll take your request either from support or, hey, go put it in the community forum. And then it felt like it just disappeared. That isn't going to be the case anymore. Those things actually come to all of us within the team, and we look at that. Also, Andy, there's a lot of comments around Keeper. People are really excited about that in the chat. I see that. I see that there. So just a reminder, please use the feature request in there, and the AI one, yes, is something we're absolutely thinking about.
Right. And just to chime into the feature request and to kind of just level set on some of that, just so you all know, when we get feature requests in, and the way I think about those and the way we prioritize what to work on as a team, it's multifaceted, right? So one thing we look at is how many people will this impact, right? Is this a small corner case for someone that has a configuration that not a lot of folks have? Or is this a configuration and a case that would impact a large number of our customers? I also look at how technically complex it is and how much work it would take from an engineering team's perspective, and kind of, is it like worth it, right? Like if it's going to take 4 weeks for engineering to kind of do this one small fix, do we wait and go, oh, we're going to redo this area later, and so we're going to table it until we do something bigger? The other thing I look at is, are we already doing a bunch of work in an area? And so if we're doing something like redesigning the ticket page, let's go grab 20 requests that came in and around that ticket page and make sure we're incorporating those into a bigger project and into a bigger redesign. So that's some of the thought process and some of the work that goes on behind the scenes when those things come in. I'll grab one question, I guess, while I'm here talking before someone else maybe wants to take a different one. So I saw a few comments on patching and application updates, feature updates. Are we going to be including those in the patching upgrade? And so I think you'll see us in terms of patching and updates. It'll be a series of projects that we're going to be working on in terms of patching. So this first project is really a dashboard that kind of gives you a look into, kind of what's been deployed, what's missing, and so that you can see kind of across your whole fleet pretty easily where you need to focus and spend your time and attention. And then you'll see us move into things like feature updates, applications, third party. And so you'll see a series of projects coming out from us in and around keeping your systems up to date.
I want to grab 2 questions having to do with the universal billing stuff. David's asking, is there a current list for automated billing vendors that you guys plan to support? And then, hey, Harvey, I know you. Harvey's asking, universal billing looks amazing. It'd be important to be able to add generic third parties, for example, AFI.net or O365, that we need to be able to bill properly for usage. So yeah, with the first piece, the way we're going to start it is I'm going to call it new awesome vendor number 1. That's where it's going to launch with. Any other new vendors we launch this year, it would be supported there as well. And then we're going to roll back to existing vendors. So we're talking Bitdefender, Proofpoint, Acronis, all the folks I've been having conversations with over the past few months about that. That stuff is coming. And then Harvey, your question, I didn't want to get really crazy into everything that we could do with this. But yes, there's a couple of things we can do here for things that may never get directly integrated. We're looking at things like being able to take a usage report in a CSV, basically ingest that into Syncro every month and have it work under all the same premises and functionality that I described prior. We're also looking at ways to enhance the API to give other third parties that want to integrate with us the ability to send over that type of usage as well. So there's a lot of ways that we're looking to take that beyond what we support, but the core focus immediately is going to be on the things that we do support and we do resell today. Good questions.
Great. I'm going to take one more question, and there are a few in and around the topic of network discovery, and then we'll wrap. And I will implore you all to come to maybe next month's webinar where we answer questions every month. And so a few questions came in and around network discovery. Network discovery, we're planning, we'll post a link to let people into early access. It will go up sometime this quarter. We'll post the link for early access. It'll be part of our roadmap. We'll talk about it in next month's webinar. We'll walk you through probably some of the capabilities so you can get a better idea of what it does. But essentially, it is going to scan the network. It will pull in your printers, your devices. It's not doing CVEs like in security threats, but it's going to pull in all those things from your network and allow you to get visibility into them. If it's something that can get a Syncro agent installed on it, it'll be easy to get the Syncro agent actually deployed onto those things. And so more to come. We'll walk through it in a future webinar. I want to just thank you all very much for your time. Really appreciate you coming here today and spending your time with us, talking a little bit of reflection and a little bit of look forward. And I don't know, Michael, if you want to close us out and then we'll go from there.
Dee, Kristen, Andy, everybody on the Syncro team, thanks for all your hard work in the past year. And we have a lot of work ahead of us. And so thank you all for not only, again, the year behind us, but more importantly, the hard work and the drive ahead on behalf of our partners. To the partner community, thank you all. Really productive. Just seeing, your candor, your questions, just be pointed, let's keep working together as a community. Your success, our success is 100% dependent on yours, right? We don't really sell to you, we sell through you in the services and the products and things that you provide to your community, and to your customers. And we have, a full commitment to you to make you the most productive, the most proficient, and give you the greatest opportunity to grow and be profitable of any other MSP in the business, bar none. So that's our goal and that's our commitment to you. Thank you. Stay connected. Keep communicating with us. Keep reaching out with us. We are listening. We are working hard. Dee shared with you about all of the different methods by which we use to prioritize things. And let's keep driving and let's go make a difference for all of you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you all next month.